Here we go.
Let's make it a good day. We do it our own way. Let's make it a good day. Oh, no matter what they say. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, Forest Lake. Good morning, Humphreys. Good morning, Olympia, Washington. And good morning to you. Welcome to the Jason Show. I'm Jace. Thank you for being here. Please say hello to my sidekick sister from another mister and Terry's Toothbrushes Employee of the Month, Kendall Mark.
Hello. That was my
Brush up, brush up, brush
Yeah.
up, brush up, brush up. How you doing?
It's a brand new flavor. So happy for your teeth.
Oh, I love that you know that song.
Thank you. I watched Grease.
Did you? Mm-hmm. How you doing?
I'm doing well. 10 out of 10 today. How are you?
You are. I'm warning the viewers at home. Kendall is a little extra today.
A little extra.
She's out of a 10. You're a 10. You're at your energy levels at a 10 today.
At a 10.
Okay, didn't
Yeah.
need that, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's Friday. We're allowed to be a little extra on a Friday.
Like a Friday?
No, I don't. You know, I don't like that word. On the radio show, the Kendall of the radio, Alexis, taunts me with that word. Friday. I hate that word.
So do I. You just don't know I taunt you because I haven't been obvious about it, but now I'm going to be obvious about it.
I know. I shouldn't have told you. So here's the deal. Let me tell you a little story. We have dressing rooms here at Fox 9. And there's two different dressing rooms, and they're old. They've been here since the building. Everything else got remodeled, but the dressing rooms. So the Kim Jong-un, our boss, she came down from the tower and she said, "I shall give you money to redo the dressing rooms." And then she went back up to the tower, and so we're getting new dressing rooms. So. During construction, we have to find new places to change our clothes. Because when I do my radio program from here, and I basically wear pajamas when I do that. So then I got to change into this nonsense. So we had to find a place for me to change. So I'm going to be changing, Robert, if we can take or not Robert, but see if we can take a shot of the set. I'm going to be changing behind this wall over here. Now, this is what we used to call the tchotchke wall. Behind this wall, there's a whole little area back there. Now, I'm going to be changing back. So this is what I had to figure out today. Are there cameras hanging from the ceiling? Are there cameras hanging from the ceiling that could potentially show me changing my clothes back there, and then the control room would laugh and judge, So today after the show, they're going to scour the roof to make sure there are no secret little cameras pointing down, because I don't want to be buck naked back there changing, and then, Leo's, what? Well, I don't get naked, but I mean...
Naked Jason pics coming to you.
Changing. I mean, I know executive producer Jeff said that when I brought this concern to my direct supervisor. I said, I'm going to do this, and he looked at me, he goes, "Why are you taking off your clothes?" And I said, "I got to change into this. I'm not going to do the radio show in a suit."
Right.
So then he understood. So I just don't want to be back there in my underoos.
In your skivvies.
In my skivvies, and have director Leo, taking photos and putting them on the internet.
TMZ.
Ted snapping photos and making me into GIFs, I don't want that. So that's the activity today. And so on Monday when you watch me, I'm going to be a little nervous. I'm going to be back there. I'm going to be a little nervous.
Yeah.
Changing.
I get that. I have to do a lot of monkeying, and I always kind of try to find a corner because I'm like, where are the cameras in these places?
Because now there are cameras everywhere.
There's literally, we lurk in TV.
And especially here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 80 cameras, Eric. So I got to be careful back there for the next however long the construction will take.
Godspeed through April.
But I just want to say I'm grateful. I'm filled with gratitude that Kim Jong-un opened up her purse and we're getting new dressing rooms.
So excited!
That don't smell like the subway system. So
right.
I'm very grateful. Let's get started, everybody. It's time for the hot dish. Roll it, Steve. So the wooing of Gayle King is where we begin, and the wooing has begun. CNN is trying to court the CBS star. According to the New York Times, CNN bigwig Jeff Zucker wants Gayle to host CNN's 9 p.m. time slot. That primetime slot was hosted by Chris Cuomo before he got the boot. Y'all know what happened to him. Since Chris got the heave-ho, ratings have taken a big old dive, but it was a failed effort because insiders say Gayle has already renewed her contract with the Tiffany Network. CNN also approached Rachel Maddow last fall with a $20 million paycheck. Come here, Rachel. A year offer to join the network's streaming service, CNN Plus. If I'm Rachel, why would I leave? You know what I mean? Why would I leave MSNBC on the television? And I know streaming's where it's at and where it will be in the next 2 years. But why would I leave that show to go over to CNN's YouTube channel, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, money. Money.
Small thing called millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's a mighty check.
Do you really think that she's already re-signed with CBS?
Gayle King? Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, she has enough friends and allies over there, and she's treated very well. They love her. She's kind of the grande dame of CBS News now. If I was Gayle, I wouldn't leave either. You know, I would sign a few more years. And then Gayle, I mean, let's be clear. Gayle doesn't need to work. I mean, you know, she could just live in Oprah's attic. You know what I mean? She doesn't, you know.
They're millions of dollars.
You know, she doesn't need, Gayle is a bazillionaire on her own. She doesn't even need Oprah. That's what people forgot. You know, when CBS announced that Gayle was going to be hosting 10 years ago, people freaked out. They're like, Gayle King? Well, if you know anything about, Gayle was a local anchor for years, for decades in New England.
That's how they met,
Connecticut.
wasn't it?
Yeah, Gayle was like a production assistant when they were like 22 or 23. And there was there's a big storm. And Oprah couldn't go home, so she invited Gayle invited Oprah to spend the night, and they've been best friends ever since.
I love that story.
I know, I do too.
Cute.
It's fantastic. We've never had a storm here that forced all of us to sleep over at one of our houses.
Okay, Jeff like audibly cringed when you started saying that, like, oh God, we'd have to all hang out after work.
I know, and what's funny is Jeff lives the closest to the station.
He would never invite us.
He would never. If there was a storm that was coming here, Jeff would be like, is there a shelter? You know, I mean, you know.
Can you hide behind that trash can?
Could you guys maybe, is there a Super 8 you guys could go to?
Right, anything?
Anything? Next on the dish, Patti LuPone was on with Andy Cohen last night, and during the after show, she was asked what she thinks is the most overrated Broadway show. Look at this.
Most overrated Broadway show of all time. Wow, that's a great question.
Wow. Yeah, Cats.
Yeah, right.
Cats. I mean, that's one of them. And Phantom. I mean, so I think there should be a time limit on Broadway shows.
Right. Do you?
I think there should be term limits on senators,
yes,
on judges, and on Broadway musicals.
Right. What should the term limit be on a Broadway show? 10 years, and then you can revive it in a few?
Maybe not even 10 years.
Right. Wow.
Because you got to free up those theaters.
Yes.
New
Exactly.
shows.
Yeah. In a previous appearance on the show, Patti blasted Madonna in Evita, calling her a movie killer.
Wow.
I'm with Patti. Cats is one of the 3 shows I've walked out of in my life.
Yeah.
I walked out in the middle. Oh.
Eric is applauding by himself.
It wasn't now and forever. It was intermission. Yeah. I wanted all of those Cats' 9 lives to expire quickly. All of them. I ran out of that theater at intermission. This was about 2005, 2004. Then I walked out of a horrible rendition of The Wizard of Oz about 10 years ago. It was a modernization of The Wizard of Oz. So like the monkeys looked like club kids. And I thought, what in gay hell is this? I mean, this is awful.
You're not referring to Wicked, are you? The modernization of
How
The
dare
Wizard of
you
Oz.
think that I don't know the difference between Wicked and Wizard?
Just
How
checking.
dare you? My people created that stuff.
The gays are upset.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from headquarters. Yeah.
Speed dial. I'm so sorry. Please love me anyway. I love all of you.
Forgive her. She's straight and ignorant. There we go. Yeah.
Just checking.
We're a trip today, aren't we?
You really are.
Yeah. By the way, there's the headquarters is in a beautiful Golden Valley, if you ever wondered.
Right by the VFW, right?
That's right. Yeah, we love a good VFW. Next in the dish, Ali Sheedy is opening up about her most famous role from the 80s. The Brat Packers starred in The Breakfast Club. There she is. Oh, gosh, I love this movie. Playing a misfit / basket case who underwent a preppy transformation. Well, now she's saying that makeover made her feel uncomfortable. She said it was the 80s. They took a young woman who seemed like, in her words, a crazy person and turned her into somebody pretty or whatever it was. But she says the movie, she's grateful though, the movie was nothing but a gift. Yeah, all of these movies you can look back on now and you can find problematic things with all of them, but they're movies of their times, you know? That's why I really don't like the oh, we have to burn them, we have to get rid of them. They existed in their time.
Right.
You know, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
But that movie, oh my goodness.
Just good.
It's just, for my generation, it's a classic.
I think it's a classic for anyone. I watched it after it had come out, obviously, but
Yeah.
it still rang true, I think, for all the teenage things that I felt too at the time.
Absolutely. I love it. We're going to keep it at a 10 today?
So ready!
I love you. We have so much more to come. Stay right there. Back after these words, my friends. The dish isn't done yet. Coming up next, has, and just like that, turned a corner?
I think you just did.
Is it actually good now? Have a review. Then, is Wendy Williams ever coming back? Also ahead today, we're paying tribute to our buddy, the late great Louis Anderson, with a visit from another friend of ours, Liz Winstead. And Kendall is taking us to the Winter Carnival, and you don't even have to put on a coat or boots.
Can you sing for me? Of course we can!
That and more when we come back.
Come on, get happy.
You guys, I don't know, I feel like now, like it was always funnier, but somehow now it's even funnier because you now have no reason to do this. There is literally, like you could have passed the torch like Robert Downey, like Iron Man did to Spider-Man, you know. You went to the hospital, I saw you leave in an ambulance. How long were you in there?
I got a weekend stay in the hospital.
What is how is it set up? Like, do you have a plan for if you are killed during one of these stunts? Like, will it still be in the movie?
Wow, if I'm killed, I don't know. But
So you haven't-
luckily I made it.
You didn't make it.
Yeah.
You don't have like in your will, like if
barely
anything
made it.
or is to happen to me, I want to make sure my fans see me die.
Yeah. No, maybe not the death.
And I noticed something is that there are so many people working on it, but only 3 medics. That seems insufficient.
Yeah, you know, half stuntmen aren't great long-term planners.
No. The great Johnny Knoxville on Kimmel. Jackass Forever opens next week. He talked to Stern about it. He was in the hospital for a long time after there's a bull scene in there. And he said it's going to be the last time he does something like that. It really hurt him, yeah. On Fridays, we get an extra serving of hot dish all the way from Hollywood. Please give it up for Jacob from TMZ. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
Good, buddy. We've been covering this all week. What's the latest on Adele's residency in Vegas?
So we're being told now that Caesars Palace and Live Nation, they want this concert to happen, or I should say residency. They want to work something out with Adele, but it needs to happen soon, ideally in the next month. And frankly, they don't know if they're going to be able to because they've run into so many hurdles with Adele. So as we previously reported, Adele put out this video last week where she said she was canceling her residency because her whole team got COVID. But we're being told it's because Adele has had tons of problems with how this show was supposed to be, ranging from the special effects, the choir, and the sound system in Caesars Palace. We're even told that Caesars implemented a whole new sound system per Adele's request, which she was happy about, but it clearly wasn't enough to keep this show going. And right now they're trying to just figure out a way that they can mend this relationship because it is supposed to generate a ton of money for them. And so it's a huge show. People are flying from all over the world to go see it. And if it's going to happen, they need to work something out really quickly.
And Jacob, aren't you guys saying you're hearing from your sources, it could be like mid-year? This isn't a quick fix.
if it does happen, if they're able to keep this show going, it's going to happen sometime in the mid-year. But like I said, they have to work out a deal with Adele within the next couple weeks.
Oh my goodness. The Kim K. Pete Davidson relationship continues, unfortunately, and Kanye West can't shut up about it. What's he saying?
Yeah, so there were some rumors that started earlier this week that Kanye West was telling people, his friends, people close to Pete, that Pete Davidson has AIDS. And we've actually
disgusting.
confirmed this. It is disgusting if it's true.
Yeah.
So we have confirmed this with people close to Pete that Pete is hearing that Kanye is spreading these rumors, and it's obviously making friends of Pete very concerned, saying, hey, we're hearing this through the grapevine. Is anything going on? And however, people close to Kanye are telling us that this is completely false. He's not doing this at all. But of course, this is true. Like you said, it's despicable. And we've seen Kanye take shots at Pete pretty recently in a new diss track where he said, God save me from the crash just so I could beat Pete Davidson's ASS. And so they're clearly going head to head. Really, I should say Kanye is going for Pete Davidson's head. Pete's been pretty quiet this whole time. And honestly, I think Kim has to appreciate that he's just kind of keeping his mouth shut, letting Kanye go on the tear here. But I mean, I think Kanye is just being true to form, maybe played a role in why him and Kim broke up in the first place.
Yeah, like you said, and if it's true, that's just disgusting on a whole other level. Finally, lightening up things a little bit, Patrick Mahomes' fiance is in trouble with fans after Kansas City's big win over Buffalo on Sunday. What did she do?
Yeah, so if you recall, Kansas City had a huge win this past Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. It was in Kansas City, and as a way to celebrate, there was a video of Brittany Matthews, Patrick Mahomes' fiance, popping bottles in her box seat. And this got a lot of people mad. People were just on social media in particular, were just saying that this was kind of a rude way to celebrate and were, bullying her, I guess, on social media. And as a response, Britney is now making new t-shirts that say Team Britney. And it's a partnership that she has with a local nonprofit based in Kansas City that advocates anti-bullying. So all the proceeds made from the t-shirts will go to that organization. But I guess she's just trying to take this bad circumstance, turn it into something good here. But, who knows? I think she has it pretty good. She's Patrick Mahomes' fiance, and I mean, granted, he is on his way to another Super Bowl. So I love that money's going to this nonprofit. But Team Britney, I don't really know who those shirts who wear those type of shirts.
Yeah, and if she's using it to say that she's being bullied, and I hate the overuse and misuse of that word. That's about bullying is about punching down, and people on Twitter, that's not punching down when you're anyway. Okay.
Well said. No, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, Jacob. But hey, it's going to a good cause. Jacob, have a good weekend, my friend.
Thanks.
I thought that I disliked Kim and Kanye. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you watch the show for any number of years, I can't stand them. Like they don't interest me.
Right.
Like I don't like to cover them. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I almost despise the Kim K. Pete Davidson relationship more.
Why?
I heard that they were at Jeff Bezos' house. I hope that Jeff puts them on a one-way trip in one of his spaceships.
Jason.
What?
I love them.
No, do you really?
I love her.
And I love you, so you free to feel however you want. But do you really? They don't irritate you?
No, but this is why. Because Kim has had a very intense everything's like. She's one of these kind of people, right? That's why she's really successful. And he's like, whatever, let's have fun, let's let loose. And I think it's good for her. I don't think they're gonna last forever, but I think that it's a good combination for her for a bit.
Let's be clear, I don't really care what's good for her. I'm just saying I'm sick of hearing about them. That couple, so my two least favorite couples right now, and I know you're with me, those two, and then Shotgun Kelly and what's her face?
Megan Fox, which is basically the same couple, and same with Courtney and Travis Barker. They're all kind of like the same couple in different.
Bob Barker, Shotgun Kelly, I don't care about any of them.
Oh my gosh.
Next on the dish. Wendy Williams has not appeared at her, on her talk show at all this season, and her prolonged absence is getting an extension. Again, the show announced it will have guest hosts for the month of February. Here's Sherry Shepherd. I love Sherry. Michael Rappaport, Fat Joe, Bevy Smith, Terrence J, and Sherry will all fill in for Wendy. The show has gone with guest hosts since the beginning of this season, which is season 13 for Wendy. You guys know this. Wendy is battling multiple health issues, and it's unclear if or when she may return. If I'm being very honest with you, I've said it since the beginning, and I don't say it in a, dishy kind of way.
No.
I don't honestly think that she's going to return to her show. If I'm being very honest with you guys, I just don't think she's going to. I think, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe she needs to concentrate on her health. It's a tough schedule if you're 100% healthy. But God bless her, if she's dealing with multiple health issues, she should she's number one, So
Absolutely, I agree.
I don't foresee it happening. And if Wendy does have to step down, I think Sherry would be great. Sherry has been so good. I love her. And another one, the duo, Michelle and Leah Remini. I love those two. Who do you guys like? Let us know. Next in the dish, the second to last episode of And Just Like That dropped yesterday on HBO Max. Before I talk about it, here's a little preview of the episode.
I am so excited about your date with the teacher.
It is not a date. It is a do-over. Let's take the romance out of it.
I think you just did.
You're not my girlfriend, and we're not dating.
We're not? What are we doing?
It's like having a newborn again, but with a cell phone and her period.
See, I couldn't handle that.
How long ago did this thing start? You gotta know.
I should probably wash it off.
I have never had to bribe a doorman to get into a hot club until tonight.
That's really offensive.
Was I just canceled by a doorman?
You were, Seema. By the way, Seema is my favorite new character. I love her. Look, there's a lot of negativity. Some of it, a good chunk of it warranted. This show was very wobbly at the very beginning. They tried to do too much. They tried to make up for the mistakes of the original. But again, go back to what I said in the last segment. These shows exist at a certain time. You can apologize and say you'll do better, but the show existed in the 90s. Things were more inappropriate. Anyway, the show has tried to shove every kind of social issue into it, and it came across as preachy and a little eye-roll inducing. There was no subtlety in what they did in the first half of this first season. But let me say this. I've also said this millions of times. You have to give shows time to find a rhythm, especially a show like this that's trying to come back, but do it in a different way. Because when Sex and the City was around, the women were in their 30s. Now when they're in their 50s, and stylistically, structurally, the show has to be different. That's tough. I would almost argue that's tougher than starting from scratch with a whole new show. You're trying to recalibrate a show and recalibrate the audience's expectations. That's difficult, and you got to walk the line. You're not ever going to make everyone happy. But my goodness, the negativity about this show is fierce. So let me give you some positivity. This episode was the best. Episode 9. This is the closest that this season has gotten to the essence of Sex and the City. I laughed 3 or 4 times. There were uncomfortable moments because, these women are messy, and that's great. There was a horribly uncomfortable moment with Charlotte that's funny, that's reminiscent of the original show. There was an emotional moment with Steve. There was a great moment with Carrie where she is moving forward in a really great way. Personally, as a Sex and the City fan, I would love to see a season 2. Then I'll judge. Their training wheels are off now. There's one wheel off. Let's get to season 2 now that they've laid the foundation, and it's been bad. Che Diaz, I don't like her. I don't like them. My mistake. I don't like them as a character. But there's some good things here. Have you watched any of it?
I haven't, but the one thing from all the clips that I've seen, the fashion at least is still there, and that's a huge.
Yes.
That's a huge thing for me when I'm watching it.
I don't even like not liking Che Diaz because I like Sarah Ramirez who plays them. The character just, I think they have been miswritten. That's not even a good word, but anyway. And Just Like That, you can watch on HBO Max. We're going to take a break. Our friend Liz Winstead's going to join us to pay tribute to Louis Anderson. That and more when we come back. having a good Friday, my friends. Well, our next guest is a comedy legend in her own right, having co-founded The Daily Show with our other good buddy, Madeline Smithberg. And she's joining us to talk about the late, great, which is still very odd to say, really, the late, great Louis Anderson. Please welcome back to the show our buddy, Liz Winstead. Hi, Liz. Hi. I wish you were here, sweetie, under better circumstances. It is weird. I know it's a cliche, but even reading that in the teleprompter, Liz, that was odd to say.
It's really hard to even process it now. And you know, it's hard when somebody has been so influential and close to you to talk about these things. But so often I feel like when legends die in the media, if you don't hear from the people that knew them, it just becomes a lot of noise. And I think a lot of people feel this way. You know, journalist Marty Keller from the Twin Cities and Jeff Cesario had an incredible piece in the Trib yesterday. To honor Louis in a way that he needed to be is really important for me. And, you know, he was, when I started doing comedy, he was somebody who was just forming the comedy scene, really, with the Comedy All-Stars at Dudley Riggs. And the first time that I ever headlined in the Twin Cities, I was still just living in Minneapolis, and it was my first big time to do 5 nights at the Comedy Gallery. And Louis flew in from Los Angeles to be my opening act so that people would come and see my show. Like, that's the guy he was. Like, I was a nobody.
I was going to say, that was, you know, I was going to reach out anyway, and I always feel bad. I mean, I never like to take advantage of friendships, but I'm glad that you started with what you said, because that's exactly why I sent you a message, and I'm glad we did it a week later, because my feeling was I didn't want Louis to be a headline for a day, Liz. You know what I mean? Right. Especially in Minnesota, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want it to be, oh, it's in the evening news, and then we move on to the next, you know, thing that we're upset about. So I really, really appreciate you being here. And the catalyst for me sending the message immediately was that tweet that about that story flying from LA. But that's who he was, right, Liz? That's who Louis was.
And I have to tell you, like, there's a million stories that comics will tell about how if he just saw you and he liked you, he wanted people to know you. You know, he was also such a champion of weirdos, you know, of people who are not necessarily in the mainstream, who he saw talent of, that he really wanted to amplify. And, you know, the other thing about Louis that is massively great is I grew up in the Twin Cities, born and raised. I'm the youngest of 5 kids in my family. Like, you think I ever got a word in edgewise? You think anybody ever was like, why do you think you're the funny one, you know? But every time I would do a show, or Louis Anderson would be doing a show and I would bring my family to the show. Louis would go out of his way to make sure that my siblings and my parents all heard how funny he thought I was, you know, that he was like, she is a star, you know, and it was just like, as the youngest kid in a family, it's like, thank you. They would beat me up constantly. And now I have like all of my vindication.
Well, and I love this too, because I think he's getting the credit that he deserves, because, and Liz, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think because he wasn't the flashiest of comedians, and he wasn't the loudest in the room, and he wasn't creating scandals here and there, and no offense to the greats that do that, but I don't often think that Louis gets the credit that he deserves for being just an iconic comedian, a smart, brilliant comic, don't you think?
Also, unique in his storytelling capacities. I always say to people, like, what do you like in it? When people say, like, what do you like in a comedian? And one of the things that I just revel in, and the comics I love, like Maria Bamford, also happens to be from Minnesota, and Louis, is the capacity to, A, tell a story, take you on a journey, and feel comfortable in the silent moments that really make the comedy great. As we remember Louis talking about his mom or his dad, you know, and he'd be like, wow. You know, and he'd take that moment that most comics don't have the confidence enough to sit in comfortably. Louis was that. He sustained in storytelling, very unique in the way he told stories too, because I always like to do a reset too. Minnesota is not the Midwest. It's Minnesota.
Yeah.
We are unique in so much of who we are, how we embrace where we're from. It's totally different than Wisconsin or Iowa or the Dakotas or anything. And Louis captured who Minnesotans were in their core and all of our weirdo flaws, our weird passive aggressive stuff, which is so intense. Like no one was better than Louis at laying all that bare and having all of us laugh about it.
And don't you think, too, you and I are very connected today. We're on track, even miles away from each other. I was just going to say...
No, I'm in Minnesota, honey. I'm at my home in Minnesota.
Oh, fabulous. But I was going to say, Liz, he was such a good... I heard so many people last Friday say, oh, he was such a great representative of Minnesota. And I thought to myself, he was a great representative of Minnesota, Liz, because he didn't rely on lazy tropes and stereotypes that the entertainment industry often pulls out of their toolbox to do Minnesota, right?
Yep. He went deep, you know. He did the deep cuts. You know, he was like album rock. You know, he would go, and that's what I love so much about him is that, and he didn't sacrifice those deep cuts because it might not have played to a wider audience. He understood that if you can unpack a culture, everybody will laugh at it if you do it with great detail, because there's always overlaps and intersections between cultures, right? And so Louis really did that. And even when he was like, you know, like I've read some pieces like, oh, and then he got fired from some like hosting Family Feud or whatever. He never stopped being one of the most amazing comedians ever. And maybe he did gigs. We've all done gigs where you host a game show or whatever to make money. So what? He didn't compromise his work, his life. Anytime I ever asked him to do a charity function for something I was involved in, always said yes to everybody, and was always somebody who just opened up his home and his heart to you always, and also said I love you every time he said goodbye to you, to everybody, and was hugging. Like he was very much a person who wanted you to feel that he would give you a lasting moment that you could hang on to.
Absolutely. Liz, again, I said at the beginning, I really appreciate this. I didn't mean to bug you, but this meant a lot to me, and I really wanted the audience to hear from you. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, Jason.
Talk to you soon. You can follow
Bye-bye.
Liz on Twitter to search for Liz Winstead. We'll be right back. Back in a moment. Love you, Louis.
New York is a collection of villages. The old have been in charge since before the Revolution, until the new people invaded.
Well, I'm new. I've only just arrived.
You are my niece, and you belong to old New York.
George Russell is a power in the land. Before long, you'll put money into his pocket with every train ticket you buy. I think we should know the Russell family.
We do not move in the same circles.
Mama, you are incorrigible.
I take that as the highest praise.
Well, how do you find your aunts? Data is kind, but not clever. And Agnes is clever, but not kind.
Mrs. Van Ryn and her sad sister were spying on me today.
I don't know why you bother with them.
I don't bother with them.
I'm afraid New York can be quite challenging at first.
We haven't found it so, have we, George?
There is no challenge you are not equal to, my dear.
Oh, well, there is a challenge. Climbing the social ladder. Welcome back. That's a clip from the new HBO series, The Gilded Age, starring Cynthia Nixon, Christine Baranski, and others, including the young lead is Meryl Streep's daughter. It is set in 1880s New York City. The show was originally supposed to air on NBC, but it was moved to HBO, thank goodness, and premiered earlier this week. Julian Fellowes, the creator of Downton Abbey, created this one as well. So in another edition of kind of stream it or skip it, I had a chance to watch The Gilded Age. To give you background, I love Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey's a favorite show of mine. I was excited to watch this. Stream this. Don't skip it. Stream it. But here's some warnings. First, the pilot is about an hour and a half long, about an hour and a half, hour 20 long. The rest of the episodes are going to be about an hour. So yes, it's a little long. And yes, the first 40 minutes or so, kind of drags, and you're not quite sure where they're going. What's going to be the structure of the show? What's this really about? But then the last half hour gives you the nugget, the motivation to watch the rest of the season, and then you also realize, oh, this is really what it's about, and this is going to be juicy, and that is old money, new money. Christine Baranski's family, which includes her sister Cynthia Nixon and Meryl Streep's daughter, the niece, they are old money, Kendall. They are old New York money. I think like the Rockefellers and the Astors. That's who they are. A new family moves in literally across the street and builds this almost castle, the Russells. They are new money, and they are not welcomed on this street or in New York with warmth. They are really kind of shunned. And the wife that you saw at the end of that clip there, her singular goal is to be a socialite and to be accepted by the Astor family, by the Rockefellers, by these prominent old money New York names. And the doors are shut on her rudely, deliciously for our viewing, at every turn. I'm not giving anything away, but the hook for me where I went, oh, this is juicy, this is soapy and good, is she decides after they move in to throw a party. The party doesn't go that well, and it makes you go, oh, because she's fighting. She's fighting for her place, and plus that's an exciting era of New York. That's, the city was growing. So The Gilded Age on HBO Max, stream it. We'll be right back. That's it. I've already decided in January. Kendall and I are going as Color Me Bad for Halloween.
Okay.
Welcome back. 30 years ago today, many of us were dancing or singing along to that song. Color Me Bad hit #1 of the Billboard charts in '92 with All For Love. And by the way, that's bad with 2 Ds. It became one of the biggest songs of the year, but the final big hit for the band. Oh, yeah. They had like 2.5 singles. Welcome back. When people who aren't from Minnesota see temperatures like -15 in the winter, they often ask, well, why do you live there? We know why. And starting today, we're celebrating all things winter. The St. Paul Winter Carnival kicks off today. Did you guys hear? And Kendall went to the capital city for a little preview.
I've made it! I'm here! It's the Winter Carnival, St. Paul Hotel, the Landmark Center. Where are all the people? Is this the right thing? Lisa? Where is everybody?
Well, Kendall, it doesn't start yet.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We're just setting up.
Oh, that's right. It's not yet. Well, technically, it's today.
Yes.
In the future on Friday, but
Yes.
until 4?
4 o'clock.
Okay.
Lots of people.
Lisa Jacobson here, no big deal. She's the president and CEO. So if you're going to tell somebody, hey, this is what time it starts, she probably knows what time it starts. Okay, I've never been here before. I am super stoked. It's a beautiful day. I know you're not open yet, but can we do a little walk and talk?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So there's a lot going on here, Lisa. Like I said, I've never been to the Winter Carnival before. It's the oldest one in the country, right?
Right. This is our 136th year of the St. Paul Winter Carnival. I know, right? 136. It is the oldest and largest winter festival in the country.
There's a lot going on right here, what we'll get to, but there's things happening all over the place.
Even all the way to the state fairgrounds. We have a snow park out there and a snow maze. That'll be open on Saturday, and again, weather permitting, for 10 days. I know. Which means it can't get warm.
I was really enjoying the sunshine, and you're like, that's not great. We like it below freezing.
Yes, absolutely. 20, 25 is perfect.
And there's kid events, right? Am I remembering that right?
There's Kids and Family Day and Frozen Family Fun Night. We're gonna have a big Frozen bounce house, and hopefully Elsa will show up too.
Elsa!
I know, I love her.
Let it snow. No one ever does that off key, I bet. And I mean, I'm kind of curious. Is that an ice bar?
It is.
Can we check out the ice bar?
Absolutely. Let's go.
You can always find a bar. I didn't know the corner cakes worked on the bar. Are you serious?
We're doing it all. That's right. Somebody's got to do it.
Are these power tools? Okay. Can you sing for me?
Of course we can.
Okay.
Winter Carnival, come on, get happy. The time to celebrate is now. The fun and the frolic will last from dusk to dawn. Hallelujah, come on, get happy. The cakes are here to show you how. Woo!
That's how it's done, y'all. It's winter carnival, come on, get happy. I actually really am not very good at the singing part, so we're gonna try the ice carving part. Hey, Chris!
Hi!
You're an ice carver for a lifelong living awesome job.
I am, yes. I've been carving ice now for probably over 20 years.
How does one get into ice carving if they're interested in it?
Well, most people learn in culinary school, but this competition here is a great way to get started.
You learn in culinary school?
Yes, that's where you learn ice sculpting. It's a culinary art.
Shut up!
Yes. Did you go to culinary school?
No!
Oh.
You go to culinary school? That makes so much sense because then you get those like ice, those like swan
Yes,
bars.
Exactly.
Mind blown. By the way, do you take selfies in this chair?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, sit down.
Next to the chainsaw?
Next to the chainsaw.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you sing Winter Carnival. It's winter carnival, come on, get happy. Yeah, Chris, get out of my shot.
Yes.
It's winter carnival, come on, get happy.
What we didn't tell you was Kendall got stuck on that with the ice, and we had to
Chainsaw me off.
chainsaw you off it.
Mhm.
You looked lovely, and the bow was there.
That was the heaviest feather bow I've ever worn. Riddle me that. It's feathers. I don't know.
Yeah, what kind of bird do they make those feathers out of?
Ostriches for sure.
Some heavy bird. For a rundown of events, head to wintercarnival.com. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the world's shortest segment and the surprise goodbye in just a little bit. Nicolas Cage's Pro. My goodness. I hope all of you at home have as much fun watching our show as we have doing it. I hope. It's time for the world's shortest segment. Boom. A piece of movie history sells to the highest bidder. The Mirthmobile from Wayne's World just sold for at auction for $70,500. It's a 1976 AMC Pacer driven by Wayne's BFF Garth. The car was also the setting for the movie's iconic lip sync to Bohemian Rhapsody. 2022, by the way, marks 30 years since Wayne's World came out. We'll be back with a surprise goodbye. What is it? I don't know. We'll find out when you find out next. No. Welcome back. It's time for the surprise goodbye. As you know, we have no idea what the story is until now. Today, call him the ultimate hype man. A guy in Georgia is sharing video of his godson learning to roller skate with encouragement from him. Look.
Oh, yeah, 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 oh, yeah! That was on that,
I love him! Look at that kid! That's Bryson showing off his moves with the big kids and adults at his local roller rink. Oh, how cute is that kid?
I love how he just keeps like, he just got his own lane. Everybody else got to go around him.
He's really good.
That's so cute.
Oh my, I could look at that all day long. That is fantastic.
Do you think we could get Ted to do that for us at a roller rink?
What?
Well, if Ted was our hype girl, sorry, Ted, and you and I went roller rinking, we could be viral.
I think it would be opposite. I don't think Ted has ever roller skated, so I think it would be funny to put Ted in the
roller skated?
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s. We had roller rinks all over the place.
Oh,
yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I could go backwards. I could do little spin. You know.
You could go backwards.
Let's try to see you go backwards, Dorothy Hamill.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I won't laugh as you fall. Monday on the show, Ernie Hudson will join us to chat about Ghostbusters, and producer Ted visits the art shanties on Lake Harriet. Oh my goodness. But right now, if you're watching and you're a kid that's being bullied, you go out there and be yourself, because nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.